What is up, friends and fellow collectors? We're at the end of 2021, and I'm going to weigh in on my top 10 favorite statues that came out this year. So we're at the end of 2021. It's been kind of a weird year for statue collecting. Not a lot of pieces arrived on time. Stuff is arriving either quickly and very expensive or taking forever and still kind of expensive to get here. I have some statues that have been delayed, that have not even arrived yet, and it has me both excited and fearful for 2022. I feel like I'm gonna get bombarded with all of these statues all at once. Like, for example, just in the first 2 months, I know I have at least 4 statues arriving, and it has me a little freaked out. But still, I can't wait to see these pieces and do the reviews for you. Now, while I would love to be able to review every single statue that comes out there, I neither have the funds, the space, or the connections to pull that off for you guys. So what I'm doing here for this top 10 list is I'm not only going to be talking about the statues that I actually got to see in person, but also other statues that I didn't get to buy, but I still really like and I feel are worthy of being on my list. And for those reviews, if you want to see them, I'm going to mention the reviewer that I saw the review for, and I'll leave a link in the description below for you guys to get to that channel if you guys want to check out the review. So with that out of the way, if this is your first time on the channel, welcome, and please like and subscribe and turn on notifications so you can stay up to date on all of the content. Let's get to the list. First up, number 10 on my list is the Sideshow Deja Thor's maquette. Now, this is one of the last statues that I have on order that is not part of my mainstream type of collecting that I do here. I do mostly Star Wars, I like video game statues, I do a little bit of anime, but Deja Thoris was one of these one-offs that I just love the art so much. And when I saw it at San Diego Comic-Con in 2019, that I ordered it as soon as the thing came out. And a lot of people did too, because the edition size was actually a lot higher than I expected it to be for that statue. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece, hands down. The art about it is great. I love the pose with her laying down on that sofa thing, which looked great. I love the colors. It's very vibrant. Her skin tone looks really good. She looks sexy. She looks sensual, very gorgeous, very beautiful looking face. I love everything about this statue. The only thing is it doesn't fit with anything in my collection. So because of that, I haven't been able to display it since I did the review. I can't wait to actually get some room to put it somewhere. But to me anyway, it's one of the most underrated pieces, is because I've seen a lot of great reviews on it, but it's still available on Sideshow. And it could be a reason that, there's just a high edition size, but still, I feel like that's one that should have sold out by now. It's a great looking statue. So if you've missed out on that one and you're into that kind of genre of collecting, the whole, Frank Frazetta, high fantasy type of vibe, that is a great looking statue and definitely worthy of picking up. All right, so next on my list is the tweeter head Catwoman Michelle Pfeiffer statue from Batman Returns. Now, this is not one that I picked up. My awesome friend Outlaw Pete did the review for us on the MCE channel. I also caught Jem Mint's review if you want to check out that one as well. This is an awesome, beautiful statue. Now, just like the Deja Thoris, it's got a similar pose. She's laying down on what looks like to be like a rooftop of some sort, and you got that whole cat sculpture that she's leaned up against there, which puts you square into that whole vibe of the Batman Returns scene. So I love it. It has great looking placement is what I like. And it's got an extremely close, accurate portrait to Michelle Pfeiffer. I've never seen anything like that out of a polystone statue. Usually you have to see something like that in like a silicone. But man, this is a great looking piece. Super cool. Tweeterhead is a great company. If you haven't checked them out already, you should really go look at them. It's got a beautiful look to it. And if you're into Batman Returns particularly, this is a great statue to own. Definitely right up there on my list. All right, the next one on my list, I was actually on the fence of buying, is the Rancor maquette from Sideshow. This thing is freaking humongous. It's the biggest statue in my collection. It's just massive in all sizes, height, width, everything about it's big. They did it in close to 1/6 scale, so it fits really, really great with the Hot Toys collection. So if you're into Hot Toys collecting, this is a great piece to have along with it, especially if you love Return of the Jedi. It's not completely accurate to the movie, but it's close enough that it's unrecognizably the Rancor. So I love it. Great looking piece. Had a very low edition size, which that's what actually put me on the over the edge to go pick it up finally. And it's one that I wanted to get. And I was extremely happy with that until Sideshow decided, to be extra greedy and re-release it in a smaller scale. But for those of you guys who missed out on the big guy or didn't have the space for the big guy, The smaller one looks just as good. It's just a smaller scale. Now, if you got some extremely deep pockets and you want something actual and that looks exactly like the Rancor from the movie, your best bet is the Regal Robot Rancor. Now, that one is not considered a statue, so that's why it didn't make my list. But it's actually, they got to build as like a studio prop, but it's a statue, So if you got deep pockets and you want something that's not as big but a lot more accurate, Regal Robot's a good option for you there. But I absolutely love my Rancor. This thing is so freaking cool. It's like a pet. And it's really, really neat, man. It scares the crap out of my girls when they come in. So that does the job. At least it defends my collection is the way I look at it. But no, I just love the damn statue, and it's really, really cool. All right, so the next one on my list, I don't even know if I would consider this a statue that released this year. I've never seen anybody do a review on it up until now. I've actually been waiting for this statue to be, or diorama is really what it is, to be reviewed since I opened this channel. So like almost 5 years, I've been waiting for a statue review of XM Studios Sentinel Diorama. And finally, DT's Geek Show finally did an unboxing for it. This guy even went as far as to build a custom huge Lazy Susan so that he can turn it around and do the review for you guys. I mean, that guy that he's got those kind of pockets is because now I can finally see a real review on it. Not the prototype. The prototypes are awesome, but I want to see the actual in-hand, view of a collector that actually has it, and if it's as good as what they say it to be, when you see the prototype. And man, it looks fantastic. That is probably the wildest thing I've ever seen as far as statues go unboxed this year. So if you haven't checked out DT's review, I'll leave a link in the description below. I'm sure a lot of you already have. He's got a hell of a ton of subscribers already. So, but that is an awesome looking statue. Definitely the better of the two Sentinel dioramas that came out this year, or that was finally reviewed this year. It's an awesome, awesome piece. So if you got super deep pockets, or no wife, or a huge mansion like this guy must have, or lots and lots of space, this is the Sentinel diorama for you. Now this one needs to be mentioned on here too, because it's also a really cool display, especially if you get all three of them, and that's the Iron Studios Sentinel diorama. Now this one got a mixed bag of reviews. I know my boy Craig over at Half-Assed Reviews, he didn't like it, he returned it. I saw a couple other guys say the same thing. Gem Mint did a review on it, he liked it a lot. And Outlaw Pete did it for us, and he loves his. He's got 3 of them now. Actually, I'm doing the editing on the 3rd one for you guys, and then you'll see his entire display of the 3 Sentinel diorama in all of its glory. But it's a fantastic looking statue in my opinion. I like it a lot, even if some of you guys don't. Display wise, I think it's really, really cool. It's a really awesome way if you're into the X-Men to collect all of the X-Men. It's because it's very difficult to do that in a quarter scale. And when you're doing the premium format or XM Studios way of the X-Men, you need a very big display to be able to do all that. And you're definitely not going to get a Sentinel that is in scale with the quarter scale unless you just, have a massive, massive house. I would like to see if somebody would actually make something that big. But in 1/10 scale, it's got really awesome looking detail. You got all kinds of exciting, action going on there with the X-Men fighting it and all that. And then you got 3 different Sentinels. You don't have to collect all of them, but you can, you have 3 and they connect together and make one big scene. And then they have 1/10 scale X-Men that you can take and put all the way around. So you can really have a really awesome display and not take up a massive amount of space with these little statues. So it's a great thing in my opinion, and it deserves to be on my list. Next up is XM Studios Grimlock. So when it comes to Transformers, my favorite Transformer is Optimus Prime, followed by Grimlock. Grimlock, when I was a kid, was like, I was just in awe with that thing. I love dinosaurs. So, when I saw the Dinobots, I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then T-Rex is just, awesome. And then you have this awesome representation of that Transformer. And what I like about XM Studios and the way they're going about it is that you got the Gen 1 style, but it's got a modern take to it. So it's got a little bit of the XM Studios flair going on there. And for me, this is what I would love to have been from the Bayformers. The Bayformers, they were cool. This is cool and nostalgic at the same time. So I was like, that's really what I wanted from the movies. So XM Studios did a great job with the execution. It's a really wild looking statue, and I love that it comes with the not the option, but I guess it's an option if you want to display it that way, but the display of the T-Rex version of Grimlock when he's transformed. And I got this review off of DT's Geek Show, and if you want to check that out, I'll leave a link for you guys below. All right, and next up is Figurama Collector's Attack on Titan Diorama. Now, I first saw this one over in Japan when I went to the convention out there. It's sculpted by my good friend Caleb Nefsen, and this is the statue that got me into that manga. Prior to that, I didn't know anything about Attack on Titan, and when they showed me the concept art of what this is going to look like, I was like, I got to check this thing out, and it's a really dope anime, so it even hyped me up to see this statue. This thing is massive. It is so freaking big, I have nowhere to display it in my house, so I had to box the thing back up. It's a great looking piece though. It depicts the battle between the Jaeger and the armored Titan. I love that you got that whole battle going on there. The destruction in the entire base is insane. I mean, all of the little details that they put in it, from the smoke to the tiles that are flying off the roof. You can see the wood splitting up on the floor. Yeah, I mean, all kinds of really cool, awesome detail is in this piece. It is a great, fantastic representation of this anime. And if you're into it, it's definitely a statue you should go look into picking up, especially if you got some space. And trust me, you're gonna need some space. It's because that round base is huge. It's so big, I can't get it on any of my shelves. You need a pedestal for this thing all by itself. It really does need that kind of love. So if you got the space, if you got the money, get that statue. All right, and next up, you can't have a top 10 display without at least one Batman statue. I mean, they throw out 100 of them a year. One of them is gonna hit, right? So it was kind of easy for me actually to pick which Batman statue I like best this year, which was the Prime One Studios Batman Hush. Batman Hush is my favorite of all of the Batman comics, and that's why I like this one so much. I owned the original one, and I actually have this one on order, and it hasn't arrived yet. So I'm still waiting on that. It's probably going to be sometime next year before it actually gets here because of all the shipping delays. But this is a super, super cool looking statue. The version 2 is really nice. Just like with the version 1, they captured that Jim Lee style perfectly, and not just in the portrait, but then even in the cross-hatching effects that they put on the statue, which I think looks awesome. I like that he's walking through the Batcave, which is straight out of the comic. You know, it's right out of the comic pages. And at least for me, the way I thought about displaying this was having the statue and then blowing up that page from the comic and just, you know, finding a way to black out that section of the panel, and that would be where you have it. You know, you have Batman right there walking out of the comic, which I think would be cool. Love that it has the computers in the back there with the display and everything. It's a really, really awesome looking statue. Of course, you can check this one out over at Batman Statue Collector. He's done a review on it. DT's Geek Show also did a review on it. Seems like everybody's already got this statue but me. But it's a great looking statue. The other one that was on my list that I was toying with adding was Queen Studios' Christian Bale Batman. I love the Dark Knight series, so I think that's great, and they did an awesome job with it as well. But if I only had to pick one Batman statue all year long to get, it would be the Batman Hush. All right, so the last two on my list is actually some of the first statues I received in 2021. And it's kind of funny that the best statue on my list is actually the best thing I saw all year, and then everything kind of just went like that. Not to say that I didn't like everything that I saw in 2021. There's a lot of great stuff that came out, but I mean, nothing that wowed me as much as those first two statues. So the first one is the Mythos Darth Maul. This is sculpted by my friends, the Kuharik brothers. Love that statue. It is so freaking cool. And of the Mythos line that came out, it's the one of them that actually, to me anyway, embodies Mythos. So you have Darth Maul in what seems to be the end of the Clone Wars, probably the Galactic Empire era. Definitely his time inside the Shadow Collective. And, you know, you got him with the robotic legs. He's exploding off a base of a statue of Emperor Palpatine that's exploding, and I think that looks badass. I like that they did a custom lightsaber for him. You got two portrait options, so you have one with these crazy long horns, and then you got one that makes him look more like the regular Maul. Both portraits look fantastic. The colors look vibrant. The paint's fantastic. Everything about this statue to me is great. One of the best Star Wars statues I've seen all year long, hands down. One of my favorites. All right, and the last one on my list, I got two that are in my top number one, but one of them I think released in 2020, and I received mine in 2021 because I had to get it from a second collector, so I don't think that one actually fits. That one is a custom Cad Bane that I got. If you asked me what my favorite statue that I got all year long, the Cad Bane would be the very pinnacle of everything that I saw this year. But like I said, I think that was released in 2020, so it doesn't fit in my little formula of what goes in my top 10. So my very, very favorite statue that was, you know, released this year, I know for certain, is the Mythos Asajj Ventress by Sideshow. I love this statue to death. It is great. It's actually made it to my favorite of the Mythos statues, even from the old ones. I love the way this Ventress looks, and it embodies Mythos. I've never seen Asajj Ventress in that kind of cloak. She has this red forming cloak. They gave her custom lightsabers, which is cool. It shows her in that time period from her fall from the dark side and just before she became a bounty hunter. So she's right there in Dothmere among the ghosts of all the dead Night Sisters. So I think that's great. I love the base with that monster skull right there, which looks awesome. I can't remember the species anymore of what that is, but I really like the way that looks. And I think they did a fantastic, fantastic job on that statue. So it's amazing to me that that's actually still available. So if you're looking to pick that one up, you can actually still get that at Sideshow. But I love that statue. It's a really, really great piece. So that's it. That's my top 10 of all the statues that came out in 2021. There are a lot of other ones that I saw this year that were really good too, like the Sideshow Spider-Man symbiote. I really like that one as well. But you know, at least for me, you know, you gotta like cut the line somewhere as where things are at. So, but that definitely would get an honorable mention. In the comments below, let me know what you think your top 10 were. You know, let me know what your favorites were. I'm interested to hear that as always. And until next time, keep it marvelous.